Let's hop right into the S3 here. First off, let's just start again, same as Azure. What is S3? What is going on? Who's using it and why? Well, S3 is also a file storage cloud platform. It's pretty similar to Azure. It's just Amazon or Microsoft. Which one are you using? So it's a file extension in the cloud. If you wanted to upload analytics, backups, archives, or just even everyday apps, you can do that and connect to it from anywhere. So that's a little bit about what S3 is. And who's using the integration? Well, those are kind of some of the reasons you would integrate with S3. So if you wanted to connect between them, if you had an Automic instance, you wanted to have multiple connections between these agents, you could submit files as a way of doing FTP. I'm going to take a look here, and we're going to take a look at the marketplace again for the S3 agent. So it's very similar stuff in here as well. Or in the overview tab, we have a little video here talking about what is the S3 agent integration and how is it used. They don't necessarily go into a look of what is happening. They just talk about high level. Thankfully today we're going to be talking a little bit about what's going on under the hood. So a little overview as mentioned, same with the features, all the jobs that are available to you, and also how that authentication works. Little documentation link here, same as before, all the versions, and then finally the compatibility matrix. All right, let's head on over. So as you can see, I have made a workflow for us to take a look at here. So high level, what's going on here? So we have an upload job, very similar to the Azure. We're uploading from the Linux box. So this S3 agent is also on that same Linux box we have before, the VM. So we're uploading from that to the cloud. Then we're going to monitor that job. And while we're monitoring it, we're going to move. Then we're going to download, check if it exists, and copy that job all at the same time. Then what we're going to do is delete the upload, delete the move, and then delete the copy. So what's different about this current workflow is I am leveraging the object-oriented sense of Automic here. All of these three jobs on the end are the exact same. The only difference is I'm passing different variables into them. So I just wanted to point that out while we're talking about the high-level overview. So let's take a look at what the upload job is. So very similar to Azure with the connection here. So we just do the, in AWS, if you have an S3 bucket, they're going to give you a URL to connect to that. Now you're going to throw that URL into the connection object here, and then you're going to tell it how to connect. In this case, you're going to use a token. After that, with the connection secured, we're going to do the region. So AWS also is region-based. When you spin up your S3 bucket, you'll see which region it is in, and you just place that in there, plain text. You can use regex. All of the options, all of the integrations, excuse me, between the two that we're looking at today for Azure and S3 are going to use and have that ability to use regex. Next, we're going to take a look at the source file path, exact same as what we were looking at earlier. So we're just putting in the Linux box with the directory and then the file that we want to upload. Next, if you're thinking, hey, what's a bucket? Bucket is the exact same thing as a blob. So it's just that high level directory. Next, we're going to look at the destination file path. We also have that ellipses, as I had mentioned. I forgot to say that. And destination file path. So that is going to be, all right, there's our folder that's inside the container. Next, we're going to look at the file inside of it. So the upload test.txt, that's where we're going to place it inside the cloud. Same query parameters as before. If you were looking to do anything with, I want to maybe number off, like, oh, this is upload test 1, 2, 3, 4, anything like that. Next, we're going to look at here is the failed operation parameters. So if it fails to put it up in the cloud, we're going to retry it, yes or no. That's just a little toggle here. How many times are we going to retry it? How many times, or excuse me, how long are we going to do to delay the retry? So this is in minutes, by the way, here. So we're going to wait a minute before we try again. Then we're going to check for overwrites. And then what are we going to do on overwrites? So overwrite existing files. That's what we have selected here, but we can also fail the job and skip the operation if we would like to. Then at the very last here, we have the encryption. So if you would like to use a specific kind of encryption, you're more than welcome to do that as well. All right, let's take a look at the monitor. So what we're doing here is we're going to monitor the copy test.txt. We have the same kind of monitor job types from the Azure monitor. So create, update, and generate. They're all the exact same as prior. So generate is both of these two, and create is if it's created, update is if it is touched. Region, same region as before. The region only changes if you're using a different connection object, or if you had the connection object pointed to an S3 bucket and you moved the bucket between different regions, that's also available, or a reason to change the region here. Now, we also have the bucket name, same as before, just checking it, and then the file name. In this case, if I wanted to throw in copy underscore test and then a forward slash, that would put it inside of a folder named copy test, and then the file would be placed inside that folder. But just wanted to point that out real quick since it wasn't in there. Then we can also use regex as previously stated. Now the steady state, same as the Azure job. It's how long are we waiting for that connection back, and then the sleep interval. So how long are we waiting in between each check? Query parameter exactly the same as before, as previously mentioned. And the return file URI. So if we needed to get that, it's going to be put in the report for us. Same with the encryption here. We can use a specific algorithm and then a key if we would like. All right, next we're going to move over to the, move. Same connection, region, looking at the bucket again. Then same with the regex commands if we would like. Now we're going to have the source file path. So just as previously seen, since we're moving between two buckets if we would like. But what we're doing here is we're just going to move it between different folders. So we can see we have upload test and it's taking upload test. And then we're going to look at this, the same bucket, destination bucket name from the source bucket name, and then the destination file path. So we're moving it now into move test, and it's going to be named move test. Same query parameter as before, all the same failed operation parameters, and then that server-side encryption parameter. All right, yeah, so next we'll look at the download. So download, as mentioned previously, very, very simple. Connection, region, and then the bucket that we want to grab from, the source file path that we're going to download from, and then the destination where we would like to download that file to. In this case, as I mentioned, we're on a Linux box, so we're going to be using Linux file paths. Now what happens if we retry count, retry and delay, very exact same as our previous retries. Now we also have the file permissions like for the Azure download that we had seen. And then at the very bottom here, the server encryption. All right, next we'll take a look at the exist. So exist, super easy. We just check if the bucket, and then we look for the TXT that we would like to. Availability of using regex, and then the query parameter. Same with the encryption key still. All right, getting down there, but on the copy, similar to the move, we're going to take a source bucket and then we're going to do a destination bucket. In this case, as mentioned, they're going to be the same. So what we're doing here is we're moving just between different folders. So we're doing move test.txt to then copy test and copy test.txt. Same query parameter, and then all the failed and retry operations if we'd like. Same with the server-side encryption. And finally, but certainly not least, the delete. So as I had mentioned, we are using the atomic parameters here. And so we're using a variable. So this variable, all I have to do in the previous job is pass in what this variable should be. And as you can see, it's named change. And so what this will do is pass in the directory, the file directory, the file path to the file that we would like to delete in the cloud. If we would like to, though, we could also check and see which ones are already there. Looks like copy test is visible. So if we wanted to, we could click that and click choose, and it would place that in here. Same with the retry. We can retry, count, and delay if we would like, and then go back. All right, that's kind of all of them right now. So let's just take a quick look at what happens when we run it. We'll execute this. And there we are. Looks like we got a good time here. So, yep, as we can see, the monitor is active, and then we're waiting for these to start. If we refresh, yep, looks like they have started and finished. So just another quick overview: upload, move, download, exist, copy, and then we're deleting all the things that we did so that we're not filling up our S3 bucket.